Hi friends, I welcome you all to today's discussion with regard to finance related current affairs for RBI and SEBI examination. And the topic which we are going to decode today in the form of MCQs is the recent SEBI circular in relation to infrastructure investment trusts or InvITs. Now friends, if you are a paid subscriber of our courses, you need not watch this video again as the entire discussion on this particular circular along with the MCQs is contained in your course itself. Now, before proceeding forward, let me quickly tell you about the excellent results that we have achieved over the past few years. Now, in 2017, in RBI Grade B, we had 27 final selections from our students, and in NABARD Grade A, we had 11 final selections from our students. And in 2018, we repeated the same success story. And in RBI Grade B, we had 70 plus final selections, and in NABARD Grade A, we had 26 final selections. Also, in 2018 SEBI Grade A examination, out of the total 84 selections, 41 of our students they made it to the final list, and in the IBPS AFO examination, our students have got 100 plus interview calls. Also, here are some very recent results which have been produced by our team. In the RBI Grade B 2019, more than 215 students they were selected for interview. In the NABARD Grade A 2019, there were 25 selections out of 41 seats, and the NABARD Grade B 2019, there were 4 selections out of 8 seats. Now, if I talk about the different individual courses that we are providing, then they include RBI Grade B, SEBI Grade A, NABARD Grade A, RBI Assistant, and IBPS AFO examinations. Now, apart from running the separate courses for all those individual examinations, we are also having some combo courses which you can avail. So we have a combo for RBI Grade B, NABARD Grade A, and SEBI Grade A. We are also having a combo for RBI Grade B, NABARD Grade A, SEBI Grade A, RBI Grade B, and NABARD Grade A and SEBI Grade A. So we have all the requisite combos that you can choose from, and you can choose the appropriate course as per your requirements. Let me also tell you about our new course, which is very important for all the banking exams. This is the QRE course. QRE, that is quantitative aptitude, reasoning ability, and English. So all these aspects which are very important for all the banking exams, they are going to be covered in this particular course. So friends, let's come back to the circular on infrastructure investment trust and discuss some of the important MCQs which can be framed out of it. First question, which of the following is incorrect about infrastructure investment trusts or InvITs? Options are infrastructure investment trusts or InvITs are instruments that work like mutual funds. InvITs are designed to pool small sums of money from a number of investors to invest in assets that give cash flow over a period of time. The objective of InvITs is to facilitate investment in the infrastructure sector. None is incorrect. So friends, let's talk about infrastructure investment trusts or InvITs. So infrastructure investment trusts or InvITs are instruments that work like mutual funds. So I believe you are all aware about the concept of mutual funds, that how people they come together, they pool their money, the money is invested and the returns they are earned by the investors. Now for the infrastructure investment trust, similar model is going to apply, but the focus here is going to be in investing in the infrastructure sector. So basically these InvITs, they are designed to pool small sums of money just like mutual fund from a number of investors just like a mutual fund to invest in assets that give cash flow over a period of time. So what we are going to do, we are going to pool small sums of money, we are going to acquire a large sum, and we are going to invest that particular sum in the infrastructure sector, and we are going to generate returns or the cash flows over a period of time for the investors who have put in their money. So part of this cash flow which is generated is given back as dividend to the investors who have put in their money. Now with regard to infrastructure investment trust, SEBI has come up with elaborate regulations, and the SEBI has notified the SEBI Infrastructure Investment Trust Regulations 2014, and they were notified way back in September 2014, and they provide for registration and regulation of the infrastructure investment trust in India. The objective basically is to facilitate investment in the infrastructure sector. So as we all know that infrastructure sector is very important for any country, any economy. So this is primarily a mechanism through which we can route large sums of money from small investors into the infrastructure sector. So friends, based on our discussion in the previous slide, now we can easily answer this question that all of the given statements with regard to the infrastructure investment trust here are correct. So answer is going to be option number 4, none is incorrect. Next question. Dash regulations provide for registration and regulation of infrastructure investment trusts in India. Options are SEBI Infrastructure Investment Trust Regulations 2009, SEBI Infrastructure Investment Trust Regulations 2011, SEBI Infrastructure Investment Trust Regulations 2014, SEBI Infrastructure Investment Trust Regulations 2019. So friends, as we have already discussed in the explanation part of the first question, that SEBI Infrastructure Investment Trust Regulations 2014, they provide for registration and regulation of InvITs in India. So clearly the answer to this question is going to be option number 3. Next question. Dash is an entity or limited liability partnership or organization that supervises assets and investments of the InvIT and guarantees activities of the InvIT. Options are trustee, sponsor, investment manager, or project manager. So friends, there are 4 key elements of a infrastructure investment trust. These are trustee, sponsors, investment manager, and project manager. Let's talk about these one by one. Now the trustee is basically the one which inspects the performance of an InvIT that is certified by SEBI, and this person is not an associate or associate of the sponsor or the manager. So this is basically the person who is in the trust who is going to inspect the performance of an InvIT and is going to see whether the InvIT is complying with the SEBI regulations and is properly certified by SEBI. Then there are sponsors. Sponsors are the people who are going to sponsor this trust. They are the people who promote, and they refer to any organization or a corporate entity which establishes this particular InvIT, the people who are basically setting up this infrastructure investment trust. Then is investment manager. Investment manager is an entity or a limited liability partnership or any organization that supervises the assets and investments of the InvIT and guarantees activities of the InvIT. So an infrastructure investment trust is going to do lots and lots of activities with regard to the infrastructure sector. So there is going to be an investment manager who is going to supervise those assets and investors. And to manage all the different sorts of projects which are going to be undertaken by this infrastructure investment trust, we are also going to have project manager. So we are going to have both investment manager and project manager for micro level management. So they are the person who act as project manager, and their duty is to attain the execution of the project. So whatever the projects they are decided that, okay, we are going to put in their money in this particular project. So that particular project is going to be managed by the, or we can say executed by the project manager. So these are the key elements of an infrastructure investment trust. So friends, now we have understood the 4 key elements of an InvIT, and now we can easily answer that investment manager is basically the entity which is going to supervise assets and investments of the InvIT and is going to guarantee the activities of the InvIT. So answer here is going to be option number 3. Next question. Dash is a document through which private placement of units of the infrastructure investment trust is made. Options are red herring prospectus, placement memorandum, application memorandum, or private prospectus. Now let's talk about private placement by infrastructure investment trust, because it is in this regard that SEBI has recently issued a circular. So friends, an infrastructure investment trust is required to list its units under the respective SEBI regulations. So like mutual funds, it is also going to issue units, and these units are required to be listed. Now this infrastructure investment trust can undertake listing through an initial public offer. It can come up with an IPO, or it can go with a private placement of its units. What do we mean by private placement? A private placement is basically an offer which is limited to qualified institutional buyers and corporate bodies only. So in this private placement, we are not offering the units to public at large. We are privately offering to some very large players, which may be qualified institutional buyer or body corporates. They are very large players. Now, a very important document with regard to private placement is a placement memorandum. Now, this is a document through which the private placement of the units of the infrastructure investment trust is made. So when an InvIT decides that it has to go with private placement, it has to file a placement memorandum with the regulator and the exchanges. So friends, as we have discussed, placement memorandum is a document through which private placement of units of the infrastructure investment trust is made. Next question. In its recently issued circular, SEBI has asked infrastructure investment trusts to file draft papers with the regulator and exchanges dash days prior to opening of the issue of the private placement. Options are 30 days, 40 days, 50 days or 60 days. So friends, now let's talk about the recent circular issued by SEBI with regard to the infrastructure investment trust. So friends, SEBI has asked these particular investment trust to file draft papers like we talked about in the previous slide. They have to file placement memorandum with the SEBI and the stock exchanges 30 days prior to the opening of the issue. So you have to come out with a private placement issue. You have to ensure that the draft placement memorandum is filed with the regulator and the stock exchanges at least 30 days prior to opening that particular issue. Now this draft placement memorandum has to be filed through. So there is going to be an intermediary involved here. The name of the intermediary is merchant banker. So this document is to be filed through a SEBI registered merchant banker. Now this particular circular, which has been issued by SEBI recently, it states that this would come into effect from 15th of January 2020 for all infrastructure investment trusts which are issuing units on private placement basis and are proposed to be listed. So this is going to be applicable from this date for the InvITs which are going to issue their units on the private placement basis. Now there is a responsibility of the merchant bankers also in this regard because they are going to be involved here. The merchant bankers to the issue, they have to ensure that all the comments they are suitably incorporated in the draft placement memorandum prior to filing of the placement memorandum. So they have to ensure that all those particular requirements which are to be complied with, all those particular things they have been adequately done by the InvIT prior to filing of the final placement memorandum. So friends, based on our discussion on the previous slide, now we can easily answer this one, that the InvITs which are interested in coming up with a private placement have to file the draft papers with SEBI and the exchanges 30 days prior to the opening of their issue. So answer here is going to be option number 1. So guys, this was all about our discussion. If you are having any query, you can mail us at hello@edutap.co.in or you can reach us at 8146-207-241. You can call us or you can WhatsApp us. And I would also recommend that you visit our website www.edutap.co.in for regular updates and important content on the respective examinations. Thank you guys. I wish you happy learning and all the best from the entire team.